Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap morning pre-market session for Wednesday, June the 25th, 2014. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the head moderator and founder of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap is a private organization. It's not a commercial venture. We are a group of traders that come into a Skype room every day to talk about the markets and talk about our trades. And then we also come into this live session each morning, and then I go through my analysis and set up my trade levels and hypothesis and targets for the day. If you're interested in checking it out, send me a contact request on Skype, Doug_McKay, or send me an email to d.mckay@stealthtrader.com. Website is moving along nicely for stealthtrader.com, and we will be porting everything up into stealthtrader.com, the web portal that we're building. Anyway, before we get going, I have to get legals out of the way, so let me do that. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand their knowledge of business trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. Only you are responsible for the trades or investment decisions you make. Trading futures or any instrument involves a risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to your financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors could lose more than initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own plan, do your own due diligence. Okay, as I mentioned just prior to getting into the broadcast, we had news. Let's go take a look at the news right away so we know what's going on. We had core durable goods and final GDP. And I know that the GDP came in way lower than expected. It was expected at minus 1.8, came in at minus 2.9. So we've had a bit of a move down already off of this news. No other news really until we get to 8:45, 9:45 Eastern, flash services PMI, and then we've got crude at 9:30 Central. 10:30 Eastern, so nothing really going to affect us on the open until we get to that 9:45. But that's minor news. I think the big news has been already digested and brought into the marketplace. So the first thing we'd like to do here was we'd like to go through the macro to micro and look at where we are in the context of the marketplace and the key numbers. Of course, we are about just over 100 points above the year high, so we do have a very strong bull market this year. We just went in and made a new all-time high yesterday at 1960. That is our year high, our all-time high, our month high, our quarter high. It's a high. But nothing else really comes into play. The one number that you want to pay a little bit of attention to if we continue to price discovery down is this 1921.25, and that is our month open. And currently we have a bullish month, but as we come down towards that 1921.25, the bears might want to take us down before the end of the month. We've got how many trading days do we have left for the month? We have we basically have 3 more trading days, so we should start looking at critical mass based on the 20-day ATR targets and whether or not we'll get capitulation for the bears. They are trying to push it down towards it. So tomorrow we will talk about critical mass and see where we're sitting. If we do hit critical mass, then the bears are likely to capitulate and put the buyers back into control and give us a little bit of a rotation back up, but we'll have to see that as we get there. Going right over to the Globex and the intraday numbers from yesterday, you can see that we've had our first down day in the Globex going into yesterday's session. We had an open at 51.25, a high at 53.25, and a low of 47, and then we opened at 1950.25. So you can see that all the Globex numbers were lower after having that 5-day run back up. So that was our first clue. We were going to get a bit of a retracement. Now we did get a big neutral day yesterday, so one thing we have to look at is the possibility that we get stuck down here and we get another neutral day today. Neutral days have a high probability of being followed by another neutral day. I don't anticipate a normal day, but we should get a rotational day today. But you never know what the market's going to throw at us. So we opened auction in range. We did break the IB to both sides for a neutral day. Our opening swing high, 52.50. Our opening swing low, 55, for a 2.5 point opening swing. Wait a minute. You got this reversed. So that's why you're getting a negative 250 there. Our initial balance, or our first hour high, 1957.75, initial balance low 1950 for a 7 3/4 point initial balance. Our intraday numbers were kind of mixed because we had a neutral day. We did have a higher 1230 number, 52.75, and a new high at 1960. Of course, that was the all-time high and the year high and the month high. And then we did put in a newer low near the end of the day. We got that rotation back down towards that 1940. One ticked it to 1939.75. Our close was lower at 1943.25, and our VPOF shifted down slightly to 1952. But we kind of left value above right now. Our 20-day ATR targets are starting to finally start to expand after all this constriction and getting down to below 10, which hasn't been seen for a few months now. We're now expanding back out. So our 20-day ATR target for the RTH session, just over 10.5. Our full session, just over 12.25, and our Globex just over 6.5. And I think this is going to be something that you're going to want to watch right now as we prepare to make a big move. Typically they'll start doing it in the Globex, and you'll see the market will still start giving you some clues in the Globex overnight. So pay attention to your Globex numbers. Of course, we did do a make and break on the neutral day for the first break to the high side at 931. And then later we went down and broke the low side. And we did this on higher than normal volume. We had 1.3 in the RTH and 1.5. Not real heavy volume, but after a couple of days of real light volume, and as we were holding and trying to hold value up in that distribution area, the participants were stepping to the side, and then they stepped in yesterday with that big rotation. Going over to the ATR targets for the day, just got to check to see where we're trading and where our low is right now. Our current low for the Globex is 1937.50. That's just one tick below 100 points above the year open. Interesting. All right, where's the sheet? There it is. So 1937.50. And that gives us a 20-day ATR target for the RTH session, or sorry, for the full session, up at 1949.75, and then our low side didn't change, down at 1933.50. And the hypothesis that I'd already put into the trade room on the Russell, we've already basically played out most of it with that move down around that balance of 1159.10. So let's take a look at the macro to the micro in the where we are in the trend. I like to take a look at the macro trends in the different time frames. Monthly, still very much intact. Do have this technical gap that is created on the monthly. Tech gap fill will probably bring us down into the 1800s, but slope and separation remains strong on the monthly, and the monthly is intact. On the weekly, same thing. We've got good slope and separation, but we are seeing a little bit of consolidation right now. We had this technical gap, so we're kind of consolidating sideways. We're getting a little bit of a down move after going up and making a new high, but overall the trend on the weekly is still very strong. The daily, well, we've been talking about this tech gap last week and this week, and what do? We come down and close the tech gap yesterday. We come down so far in the Globex and test and close the gap against 20. Now, we have not broken the 20 yet, and I think this is going to be a significant break if we break below this 20. And a break below the 20 will bring us down below that 1937, 1936.75 CLVN. And we'll look at the targets that we're looking for. So we are just seeing some weakness, possible head and shoulders setting up, but a lot of work to do on this this pattern before it validates. But it's something to keep an eye out on it. Going over to the geometric chart, there's 3 forks on this chart. There's the short-term, mid-term, and long-term upward sloping forks. I haven't put an opposing fork in yet because this really doesn't setting up for frequency. But we talked about the possibility of breaking the center line yesterday and going up and testing the upper line of the intermediate time frame fork. We failed to do so. What happens? They couldn't break out. They tried to break it for 5 days. They couldn't. And then what do? They rotate back down and now test the lower side. And currently we've broken below the lower line of the short-term upward sloping fork. So the possibilities is rotation back up to test the line from below up at 1943.50, 1943.75. But if we continue to reject this line, you could look for, if we do get a bigger move today, a move down towards that 1912.50 area. It's really the 1914.50 area that I've got my eye on, and you'll see why when we go to the composite chart. Of course, if they get back above, we still have this energy point up here at the 1966 area, but it's due today, and we need a strong retracement and a move to break the highs. And I think that the likelihood of this energy point being tested, we got pretty close to it and within a day of it, but I think that this is going to be a moot point, and it will not be hit, at least not today. But anything can happen. That's a big retracement up, and we'd have to see some strong buying coming in and some responsive buyers right off of the open, and then take us back into range and then up through a lot of resistance. Let's take a look at the trends intraday coming into the RTH session. See if we see any trends. Of course, on the 4-hour, we had a move down. We had a cross of the 9 over the 20. We had a big move down yesterday afternoon, created this technical gap, and then overnight we've come up, closed the gap, and rejected the 9 EMA from below, and have now come back down. And we've actually got a bit of a possible FUBAR Mr. Sneaky tech gap going on. So we got to keep an eye on a bit of a retracement to come up and close this gap. But we could just go sideways and chop around here and close it through time as well. That's something to keep an eye on. 30-minute, we were basically consolidating after that big move down. This is a good example of a technical gap being closed by time versus price, and then we've just been consolidating all night, tried to make a move up, and then we came down, and the news brought us down. Again, on the 30-minute, we have a FUBAR tech gap, Mr. Sneaky, and we've got a naked cross that's going to be put in somewhere here around 1942.50. So I'll be looking for this to get closed out at some point in time today. Take out that naked cross. On the 5-minute, same thing. We're consolidating. The news broke us down, created a technical gap, and then we closed this technical gap with the test of the 1940-50 area. Not quite closed, but pretty much closed, and we've rejected. But you can see we're getting a trend coming into the RTH session on the 5-minute. Let's just take a quick look at the 15-minute too. And the 15-minute is very much similar. You've got a tech gap, FUBAR, Mr. Sneaky, and we still need to close that gap, and that's looking in around the 1942 area as well. But again, you can close gaps through time versus price movement, so look for a combination of both, and we'll take a look at. I think we'll probably end up closing the gap in around that 1940 area personally, but that's my own opinion. So let's take a look at the big picture. So, you know, we'd come up and we go and we make, you know, we accept that value in around 1953. We consolidate after breaking out of this balance down here, and we go up and, you know, accept that 1953. They go back to my sessions from late last week, Thursday or Friday. I said if they came back up and accepted value at 1953, they'd go up and make a new high. And what did they do? Go make the new high, 1960. But now we've broken, outside of this balance and outside of value on this, move down yesterday, and we're currently trading down back in around where they tried to hold value back in around that 1939, area, 1940 area. Remember, this 1947.50 was the all-time high adjusted on the September contract from the June contract, which was the 1954.75. So they come back down. Now we're finding some buyers so far up here. The key level is going to be this 1938 today. 38, 37, 75. You've got a little bit of a double distribution where we were trying to hold value before. You've got the CLVN at 38, and then you've got the value area low on this prior microcomposite with 5 days on that last swing high at 1936.75. Now, if we can't hold above this 38, then I'd be looking for a move down to test at least the range high from this balance around 1929.50, and that's at 35.75. And then if we break below that 35.75, then you're outside of the current balance, you're outside of the former value area, and you're into the former balance. And then just below that, you've got the value area high of this 5-day consolidation down here at 1932.50, which is right below the 33. And then if we get down there, we're likely to come down, chop down to 29.50. And I say chop because you can see that this area right here has a lot of undetermined fair value. 30, you got 37, 34, 31.75, 29.50. There's just, it's very blunt, and there's no real price acceptance in this area of any, large significant, what I call, undetermined fair value. But currently we're holding value in around this 39.75 and 39.25, which is going to be right below our day low from yesterday. So we're trading right in on the closing swing low and the range low from yesterday's profile. So let's take a look at the overnight and bring our numbers over. So currently right now, overnight, we have a high of 45.75, which is basically 3 ticks above the value area low from yesterday. And we have a low we just put in down at 37.50. And our current VPOC, which could shift, by the time we're done talking, down here at, I'm sorry, it's sitting right here at 42, but it could shift down to this 39, and likely to happen before we open with the amount of time that we've got. So Howard, if you can just keep an eye on this to let me know when and if this shifts. But right now, I'm going to put it up at this 42 area, because 42.75, where we traded most of the night in this distribution, was right around the HVN of this lower distribution that where the buyers stepped in yesterday after breaking out of the balance that we had around that 1952, 1953, and then once they broke below that, they came down and accepted value, and the buyers started holding us up in around that 1942, 1942.75 area. So hypotheses. Don't need this anymore, so get rid of that. We're currently trading around former price acceptance, but we're also just below the prior day range low. So we're opening up outside of value and likely to open up somewhere either just inside of range or just outside of range. So outside of range, of course, and outside of value, we've got to look for initiative sellers stepping in here and pushing us down and taking out this overnight low at 37.50 if we don't go and do it prior to the RTH open. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. I think that this 38 area is important, but I think 39.75 is more important. So I'd be using that as a trade area. And what I'd be looking for is for us to come up here, test this this 39.75 and fail, and then come down and take out the overnight low. But it's really, I'm going to be watching below there. The 36.50 is going to be the area that I would look to initiate a trade to the downside. Once we break and take out the overnight low. I mean, you can take the trade below 1939 in the rejection, but just keep it tight, because we could find some responsive buyers stepping in here at 36.50. If we get below 36.50, the first target below us is going to be this 1934 area. So I'll be targeting that to get in and get funded. And then the other side of that balance is 33, and you've got the value area high from this micro composite around 29 at 32.75. So 32.75 would be where I'd be looking for, again, some support. And then if we break below that level, then we're inside of this, this value of the prior microcomposite, and I think that you've got two really nice targets. You've got 31.25. Come on. So you want to get in and get funded by 31.25, but the main destination below there will be the former microcomposite VPOC. At 29.50. And then again, this area to me is going to be very, very choppy in here. So there's a lot of stuff here. Keep it tight in this area. Don't try to put risk on the table that you can't afford, and just make sure that you get in and get scaled, because you could get a lot of rotations down here. Of course, the other side of this is all the way down at 1924.50, and that's really the only area below that that I'd be looking at in terms of buyers coming in and giving us a rotation back up towards that 29.50. And then outside of value of this balance around 29.50, the other side, and a very key level for us today, actually for the next couple days, is going to be this 1922.75. Because I think if we get below 1922.75, then we've got the bigger move down into these two areas The one being 1875. That would be the main target, with 1675 as the other side of that balance, and then anything below this 1916.75. This will be a strong move down to this 1940.50. It's a microcomposite VPOC that started this whole run up, and we have not tested it yet. So we've come down and tested the 1875 level a couple times. But if they come down here again, I think you'll get a strong move down to 1875. I don't think they'll hold it this time. I think they've got to come down, and I think the buyers are sitting down here at the 1914.50. So that's going to be a major magnet once we get below the 1922.75 CLVN. Come on. And then, of course, the other side of that balance is at 12.50. And I don't think we're going to get much below that today. But if we do, the number below is 06.50, and below that, look for a move down to test that 1900 and the 1902 CHVN. All right, to the upside, if we get above this 1939.75 and we get back into range, we've got the overnight VPOC. Or if it shifts before the open, it'll be the upper distribution HVN of the Globex. Either way, the first target above would be this 1942, and then you've got just above it the naked close at 43.25. Now we had a fairly large range yesterday, so I don't think we're going to get in into the value area and do a value area 80% rule, but we do have a triple distribution day from yesterday, and the value area low is down here at 45. So if we get in and we start accepting this value in around 42.75 and close that gap, look for them to push to the other side of the value area, or the distribution area down here, and 44.25 would be the first target, but it's really the value area low from yesterday. It's also an LVN at 45.25, and it's also just below the overnight high at 45.75. So this whole area between 45 and 46 is going to be significant, and that's where you want to see them finding responsive sellers stepping in, trying to hold us outside of value. Because if we get back inside of value, I don't think we're going to get all the way back up to the VPOC. It's a possibility, but I think we'll come up and we'll test this this 1949.50 area, if not the 1947.50. So 47.50 would be my first target, because it's also an LVN, with 49.50 being just above it. And it's basically going to take you back up into the midpoint, or a 50% retracement of the significant breakout candle. So I'm going to actually put this as a trade area right at that, between that 49.50 and that 1950, which is the 50% retracement. Also, the open from yesterday and the where the VWAP ended up. And then if we do get above that, you got a really strong target. I think the buyers are clearly in control and will take us back up to take out the 1952. With the other side of that, and target just above at 53. And I know I'm not anticipating this, but we got to put our probabilities in. 1953, which is our microcomposite VPOC, and then the other side of that is that weak high that we had at 55.50 and the value area high from the microcomposite at 55. And then anything above that, I think you see us go up and make a new high again. I'm not even going to bother. Come on. I'm not even going to bother. I think once we get up here, we come up and we go and take out that 1960 and continue this this rally, this blow off top that we have. But I'm really not anticipating that. Let's just take a look at the.
Yeah,
we get a shift.
My Globex VPOC shifted to 39.75.
Thank you. So we have the overnight to 39.75.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to put us right at the range low, and that target still remains the same because it's that 42 is still the upper distribution from the Globex. So the 42 and right below that 43 distribution from yesterday. So let's put it at 42.50 as the target above the first target inside of range before we get into value. Let's take a quick look at the Renko, see how it's setting up. So currently the center line of the Keltner is right at 41.75, or right at our target. I'm going to actually bring this down to 42, but we're trading in the lower distribution. If a move to test the center line will be 41.75, probably 42 by the time we get there, and then if we get into the upper distribution, the upper Keltner is all the way up at 1948 area, or 47.50, which is that target above, and it'll likely be 47.50 by the time we get there. But if we continue to stay in the lower channel, we've got a test of the lower Keltner all the way down at 35.75, and I would even think it's likely going to be more like 34. And that there was a 35.75, which is the range high, 35.75 range high from this 4-day microcomposite, where we came down and picked up buyers in around that 29.50 balance area. So we'll see. My main hypothesis is we test this 39.75, and then we either reject it, go down and take out the overnight low. We haven't put a new overnight low in too, have we? No, it's still sitting at 37.50. So this is the key area. This is going to make or break. Who's in control off the open is the 39.75 inside. Target 42. Reject it. Stay outside. Target the overnight low and a test of that 36.50. And then if we break the 36.50, then I think we get more continuation and the chop that we're talking about, and this undetermined fair value. And we move on from, we just chop around in this area down here. Taking a look at the Russell, and again, I've been, there's lots to talk about, so I'm just going to go through what I posted earlier. we already played out a lot of this already. So basically the market broke out of balance the last 3 days around 78.50. Okay, we've broken the 5-day value area, and we're now back in an area of a lot of undetermined fair value, a lot of chop. As of this, we were, as I was writing this earlier, we were just at yesterday's value area low and range low. We were sitting at the top of the lower long-term balance area. If we reject that, we'd go down to 1166, and then I had levels to look at, but the main target was all the way down here at this 1159.10 that we had to come down to advertise to buyers down here. We'll pick it up from there, just taking a look at the TF intraday and the composite. So currently, we came down, and let's just take a look at where we went in the Globex. So we came all the way down into this 1159.10 area, pushed down to 1156.40, and then we're accepting value in around that 1159, 1160 area, and so far we're holding up. So our overnight low is now all the way down here at 56.40, and we currently have our Globex VPOC at 1160. And I don't think that's going to change now. Come on. So we got a little bit of a different scenario. We've got a bit of a gap right now. A half gap is, what do we got, 68 and 60. So around 64 is going to be your half gap fill. But you've got an LVN from the Globex. You've got actually a range from 62 to 64 here. Let's see what it looks like on the composite. So you have a significant, CLVN at 63.40 with the range from the 5-day microcomposite at 62.40. So I'd be watching the 64 area as a half gap fill. And I think we're just going to see a lot of chop in this area. But if we get above the 64, then I'd be looking for a move back into the CHVN in around 65.50. That's where this should have been. Come on. All right. But there's really not much you can do down here. I mean, you really don't have anything to lean on until you really get down to, well, the reaction was pretty strong down here, but they pushed through all the way down to 56. So, really below there is 53.40. So it's going to be a rough open in the Russell today. There's just this whole area is kind of messed up with this move down. You could look for responsive buyers stepping in here at 1159.10, but I mean that's main balance in this area at 59.10. I think you really have to wait to see what the reaction is up here at the 63.40 to 64 area before you can really do something. Otherwise, you just you might as well flip a coin. Let's see what it looks like on the Renko. Maybe that will give us more information. Well, there's the 1160 test of the center line, which is our overnight VPOC. A move up to test the upper Keltner channel will take us up to 62.50, but more likely we'll get a walk the line up to 64. If we get below the 60, you've got 58.30 as a test, but again, I would think it would be more a push through to this 56 to 53 area. Just be careful on the Russell. They kind of stole the trade from us in the Globex. We got 3 minutes to the open. Let's just take a quick look at gold. Gold is consolidating now for the last 5 days, and this is what I was anticipating after making this move up. We broke above that 22. The first target was 25. We went and did that. We've rotated back down, and we're sitting right in the microcomposite VPOC and in value area. Look for more chop. Key level to watch above is 23. If we break above that, we're outside of value. and likely to go and test the range high on the other side of this distribution zone at 2875. If we come down to the other side, you've got 131260. If we get out of that, I'd be looking for a push down to the 1307 level. But I'm really anticipating just a lot more chop in this consolidation. This is a big move that we made, and we're going to get some distribution here in this distribution and mature the option here. Anyway, it's 3 minutes to the open, so let me get set up and get ready.